welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hey, my name is Kayla, and here we love to talk about all things luxury and high-end makeup and beauty. So today I wanted to do not really a ranking, but I wanted to talk about my top 5 favorite foundations. This was really, really hard, y'all, but I think that I have some good options. So if that's something that you're interested in seeing, then just keep watching. Okay, so let's start out with the foundation that I'm wearing on my face today. None of these will probably come as a surprise to anybody, but with so many foundations and with the industry so inundated right now, I feel like it's just been like foundation after foundation and bronzer after bronzer right now. So I just wanted to kind of narrow it down, I guess, and let you know what my favorites are. Some of these are new, some of these have been around for a long time, but this first one, what I'm wearing on my face, shouldn't come as a surprise. It's this Chantikai Future Skin Cushion Foundation. Now, I love the one in the little pot too, but honestly, I prefer this one because for me, I don't know how, but this one has more coverage and it offers more of a blurring quality than the one in the pot, just the regular Future Skin. That one's beautiful, that one's dewy, but this one's a little bit more of a satin finish. And when I'm looking for something that's gonna last throughout the whole day, I tend to reach for this one. I have it in the shade Aura, which is the shade that I have on today. And I mean, I know you've all seen this before, but it's just a little cushion. And I just think that it creates such a beautiful, almost airbrush finish. And it's like you put it on and you don't really think that you're putting anything on, but then you're like, you take a step back and you're like, whoa, my face looks flawless. So I did create this whole look, including using this over on my Instagram in the reel that I put up on Sunday. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's at beautybykaylak. But I love this foundation. I will continue to repurchase it, and it's just beautiful. I think that if you haven't tried it, I would definitely try to test both this one and the potted version because they are very, very different. So it just depends. This is a more satin finish. The other one is more dewy. I find that this one has more coverage and is more blurring, but it's all a matter of opinion. So I just love this foundation. So like I said, these are in no particular order. I literally have them all right here and I'm just grabbing them. But the second one, really, honestly, well, maybe some of them will come as a surprise, but honestly, most of these shouldn't. I love the Salt New York Sneaky Balm. As you can see, I have hit pan on my second pan. This is the shade N12. I did purchase the shade N13 and it was supposed to come in today, but now it just says it's sitting at the post office. Whatever. But when I get that one, I will definitely do a swatch comparison of the two. Y'all, I fell so hard for this foundation so quickly. It really is, like they say, it is a sneaky balm. It's kind of, you know, honestly, it kind of reminds me of the Chantikai. Not in the finish, okay? This one's a lot dewier, but as far as the coverage and how like you're applying it and you're like, this really doesn't feel like anything, but then you take a step back and you're like, whoa, my skin just looks perfected. It has coverage, but not too much coverage. You can build it up to have more coverage, or you can just shear it out. Again, kind of like the Chantikai. Now that I'm speaking this, I'm seeing that I have a type. But this is beautiful, it's affordable, and if you haven't checked out Salt New York, please be sure to do so. I know every time I talk about them, I'm like, just go check them out if you haven't. But like, they are truly, truly magical and their products are amazing. So yeah, I'm obsessed. It gives you this dewy, glowy, natural goodness, and it's just beautiful. Okay, so next, this is the one that I'm like, this might actually come as a surprise. So this is the most expensive one that I'm going to talk about. And I've had it for quite some time now, but I don't think that I've ever really talked about it on my channel. I've worn it, but I don't think I've ever really talked about it. And it is this this Clé de Peau, the foundation. I have it in the shade I-10, and it comes in this stunning packaging. So here's the inside. Always have to smell Clé de Peau products. So this is pretty much like a skincare foundation. You feel when you're putting this on, like you're putting on skincare. It's like cooling on my skin. I don't know how. It's expensive, but every time I do, I'm like, why don't I use this more often? Because it's beautiful. It's very, very dewy. So I don't think that people with oily skin are gonna like this one, but for people with normal to combo to dry skin, this is gonna be so beautiful. It's kind of like a light medium coverage, but I found that you can build it up to a full-on medium coverage. It wears beautifully. Like, I've worn this in the heat, and yes, it does wear away, but it wears away very naturally. So it still offers a little bit of coverage, and you don't have like those spots like, oh, you're missing foundation on your chin. Oh, you're missing it on your cheek. It just is very natural. My skin, after I wear this one, always feels like just so lush and juicy and hydrated, and I do love that about this one. Like I said, I use it sparingly just because it is so expensive. But it's really, really beautiful, and the shade match is like perfect for me. There are other foundations, the same shade I-10, I feel like can be a little bit too dark, but in this one, it's perfect, and it's just really beautiful. So if you could get a sample of this one, just try it out. So next, this one is probably the newest release that has easily made its way into my favorites, and it is this Cosis Revealer Foundation. Y'all have heard me go on about this one as well. It's a tiny bit dark. I have it in the lightest shade. It's very light neutral 100. It has SPF 25. I don't think I mentioned that in the other ones. The Chantikai and Salt New York don't have SPF. The Clé de Peau has SPF 21, so if that's something that's important to you, there's that. But this one, I think out of all of my foundations, there's one that I'm gonna mention that's kind of like an honorable mention. But out of all of my foundations that I have, this one looks exactly the same at the end of the day as it did whenever I put it on, if not better, because my natural oils have kind of combined with it to make it look a little bit more juicy. Sorry, I'm gonna use that word a lot in this video, but it still looks exactly the same. And to me, that's just magical. It provides medium coverage, like it is a straight up medium coverage for me at least. You can sheer it out, but I think that it does its best whenever you wear it as a medium coverage foundation. I don't know if this would work for oily skin people. My skin, I don't even think I mentioned this at the beginning, my skin is like normal to dry. It could. I think that if you set it with the right amount of powder, that this would work really well for oily skinned people. So I have worn this foundation when it's been chilly outside. Right now, it is literally like an oven in Louisiana, okay, y'all? Like, the actual temperature is like at least 100 degrees pretty much every day, and then it feels like 104, 105, and the humidity is at like 80–90%. So it's special down here right now, okay? And I have worn this, and if I don't, I mean, obviously if you wipe your face or wipe your sweat, any foundation is gonna come off, but I have worn this one in this heat, and it looks beautiful still. It doesn't clump up, it doesn't get patchy. It just looks beautiful, and this was such a nice surprise for me this year, and it has easily made its way into being one of my top foundations. Okay, so this is actually gonna be 6 foundations because I can't not include this one. And I wanted to talk about this one next because it's similar to the Cosis foundation, and it is this Esta Futurist Hydra Rescue. I think that if you're wanting something, like I said, the Cosis that lasts all day, has that full medium coverage, but you do have oily skin, I would recommend this one. It's more of a satin finish than the Cosis. The Cosis is more dewy, not completely dewy, but more dewy than this one. This one's more of a satin. I have recommended this foundation to so many people, and everybody who buys it is like, where has this been all my life? It's just a great all-around foundation. A while back, I did a video where I did like the perfect makeup tag, and I said that this was the perfect foundation. Not because it's my perfect foundation, but I feel like it works on so many different skin types. And like I said, I've never recommended this to anyone and have them come back and be like, Kayla, I hate that. Everybody's like, oh my God, it's amazing. I wore this whenever I went to Disney World last, and again, the Florida heat is very similar to the Louisiana heat. It's humid. This shit lasted all day long, y'all. And I've said it before, but when I go to Disney, I go hard, like 14, 15, 16-hour days, and this lasted. And I have a feeling that the Cosis is gonna do the same. So when I go to Disney next, which is later this year, I think I'm gonna bring that one. I don't know yet. I mean, that's still a long time away, but I think that I'll probably bring that one. But this one's amazing, and I highly, highly recommend it. So last but certainly not least is the Tom Ford Shaded Illuminate foundation. This one is very expensive as well. I finally got it in the lightest shade, 0.0 Pearl. For the longest time, I think I had it in 0. something, but it was the shade Porcelain, and it was a little dark for me. So I was finally able to pick this up not too long ago. And this foundation, y'all, it's expensive, but like the packaging alone, it's glass, it's that luxurious Tom Ford packaging. I mean, that alone is just gorgeous. But the formula itself, look, I have the concealer right here as well. This is my second tube of this, and it's what I'm wearing today. But this is just the most natural foundation. It doesn't wear as long as this Esta Lauder one, okay? The Esta Lauder one definitely, hands down, has the best and longest wear. But this one is like a dewy satin. It's a combination. It's not extremely dewy. I guess that's kind of the theme with all foundations that I'm recommending, except for the Salt New York. That one's like really, really dewy. But it's dewy, but not too dewy. And this one can be sheared out or built up. So I've worn this very, very lightly. I've worn this like full coverage. And this is another one of those where when I take it off, my skin just feels good. And I love that about a foundation. I think that this is another one that would work for all skin types. I would say it's in between the Cosis and the Esta Lauder in terms of dewiness, with the Cosis being the most dewy and the Esta Lauder being the most satiny, even though it's not satin. This one is kind of in the middle, if I had to say. And it's just really beautiful. It lasts all day on my skin. It's a great shade match, and it just makes your skin look like airbrushed without being too heavy. And it, paired with the concealer, is just pure magic. So, oh, I know it's the second most expensive that I'm recommending, but it's really beautiful, y'all. If I'm gonna recommend a foundation, I usually ask people, how much do you want to spend? And if they tell me they don't care, I recommend this one. And if they tell me, I don't quite want to spend that much, I either recommend this one if they want something less dewy, or the Cosis. So I guess those are, I don't know. I don't want to say they're my top three because I love all of these that I'm mentioning. But when it comes to recommending to other people, if somebody asks me, it's either between the Tom Ford, if they really want to be bougie and spend a lot of money, the Esta Lauder, or the Cosis. It really just depends, but I do love all of these. So that is my top, well, I cheated, 6 foundations that I absolutely love. I have a lot more foundations, and I do use the other ones. I just find that these are the ones that I reach for the most. I just know that no matter what, I can go to any of these and I'm just gonna have a flawless base without having to work really hard. and I really, really love that in a foundation. So let me know in the comment section down below if any of these are your favorites, if you're now interested in trying any of these, if you haven't already. And as always, if you like this video, please be sure to hit that like button. And if you like my content, please hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you as part of our little fam here on YouTube. And if you're not following me over on Instagram, it's at beautybykaylak. I'd love to see you over there too. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.